The next segment will be approximately 15 minutes long, where we will have a couple moments of truth speakers. And a moment of truth is basically 5 to 7 minutes of the speaker just sharing truthful, honest, and raw insights to topics or questions. And the first topic will be choosing your voice. And the first speaker will be the one and only Carrie Moore. I believe she does not need an introduction, but I'll give a short one where I have the pleasure of working with her day to day. I cannot call her my boss. She is more like a friend, a mentor, and a coworker. So everybody, Carrie Moore. Carrie, I think you're muted.
Okay.
There we go.
Right. Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday. So happy to be here, and just what a great energy. And I look down and I see 50 people are here right now listening to this conversation and engaging and connecting. And then I see all of just want to encourage everyone, the chat room on the right side where everyone is either sharing supportive comments or sharing their contact detail in terms of a way for us to follow up after this. My topic is about choosing your voice. And I love that description. For me, the path began in finding your voice. And that began for me very early in life when I was somewhere between kindergarten, first, second grade. By the time I think we know when we get to second grade, we're supposed to be reading and writing in our education system. And a lot of that is about talking out loud. And for me, that was the initial point of conflict, and being able to actually follow what everyone else was doing. And I love what Alicia was talking about in terms of embracing, maybe you're not supposed to be like everyone else. For me at this very young age, I didn't understand why those elements of connecting and reading and sharing, it truly was the most stressful experience that I ever had as that I can think of growing up as a kid. The heart of it, since I only get 5 to 7 minutes, was in actuality, I was dyslexic. And so the fact that the letters were turning upside down, a little bit of a pivot table that was going on when I was speaking and sharing or attempting to in a classroom, is because there was something different about me. And now I can tell you as an adult, I fully embrace it. The path that I walked through and being able to first just get through the stress, get to a place, and I can't begin to tell you how grateful I was for the teacher and the separate classroom that I was taken. If you can imagine in second and third grade when you're supposed to be like the cool kids, wearing the same clothes, hanging out, staying in the classroom. When it came to reading time, I actually had to walk down the hallway. So there was always this moment right before it was reading time where the teacher would say, "Carrie, it's now time for you." And I would be the only one that would get up and leave the room. And so if you can just imagine what that was like at a confidence level when you're young, that gyration of that was something, a part of my journey. Now, when I walked into the room, the really amazing thing was Mrs. Carmen, who was waiting on the other side of that room. And what she did in that room truly was absolutely, unbelievably transformational. Because we all had our reason to be in that room. Not everybody in that room was dyslexic. And I didn't even know that term at the time, but it was transformative, what we went through to come on the other side of that. So why does that matter today? How does that actually impact me as an adult? And what it's taught me, first of all, is to be patient. And maybe some of you know me, that's been an evolution. Seriously. But in the process of becoming patient, it's also taught me not necessarily the first thing that you see to believe that that's the absolute truth. So I've learned how to let things evolve and move and change. And I've actually learned to embrace that. More importantly, it's taught me how to be curious, creative. It eventually, when I came on the other side of finding my voice, choosing my voice, I learned the path to choose mine from that place of experience. And in choosing that, really gave me the freedom of self-expression, which is some of the most important things that we need as collaborative communities to be able to create change. In that path of the courage to first speak up, find my voice, even if it trembled, even if I thought, am I saying the right thing? Coming on the other side of that to find the definition, my own vibration and sense of purpose. In the last 20 years, what that has meant for me is professionally and personally to create a lot of impact in this world and a lot of change. And that's really when I want to reach out through the Zoom room right now towards you guys and encourage you from your heart and your soul and whatever feels tight and constrained, and does speaking in public feel like this? Does it feel like this, or does it feel the other? And I'm being a little silly because it's Wednesday night. But what I'm encouraging you is to follow the path. The obstacle is the way. Your perspective matters. When we think of any opportunity where a small, mid-size, or large group of people have created change, it's been the differences of opinions. It's been having a couple of people that will dare to disagree, that will then build the better mousetrap. That's what creates change. That's what solves problems. That's what makes the world a better place. And that's the type of communities that we're building, not only in Apprentice worldwide, but it's what we're all doing individually in our own personal lives and communities. And it's really what I wanted to encourage here. Ben, I think you might have wanted to ask me a couple of questions that perhaps came from the group that around this idea of choosing your voice. So let me open it up before I pass the baton to Mr. Mayol.
Yeah. Please, if anybody has a question, they can go ahead.
I think you were going to ask me a feeder question.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can ask you a question. So let me see. So, Carrie, when organizations' actions conflict with your own moral views, how do you empower yourself to voice your opinion? I don't know if you've experienced this throughout your career, but maybe you can give us.
Yes, a lot. I think the first thing that I learned the hard way is, first of all, even though it feels personal, don't make it personal. It's business, right? Business is about contrast and perspective. And so when you can actually stop polarizing on it being personal, because usually what we're doing from our own form of social conditioning is we're attempting to decide who's right, who's wrong. Isn't that true? And then we can bring in a little bit of religion, who's good, who's bad. Like, we can take all the things that shape opinion. And what I'm just saying is put that on the shelf and build an idea, a mindset, or an inner model that everybody has contrast and perspective. And we're not intended to be groupthink, because groupthink is actually not thinking at all. The point of it is to be able to actually seek to understand. So when you actually are in a situation where it's bumping up against your concept of professionalism or morality or how you believe something should actually work, the key thing is, first of all, make sure you understand. Ask questions. Stay curious. Don't go straight to judgment. Don't go straight to assumption. So be curious on that side. Once then you understand, then use that opportunity, and if this is happening in team meetings, one-on-ones, a boss relationship, then at that point say, okay, now that I think that I understand your perspective, I'd like to share mine. And I'm giving that as a tool, and being able to actually now, from a grounded out level where emotion isn't overcoming you or driving you, it's more of the wisdom to be gained by two people who see things differently. That's my suggestion.
I see. I see. Very good. Very interesting take. Kind of extract yourself and understand the situation, and then go
Yes,
more into a conflict resolution type of mindset instead of a emotionally heated battle.
exactly. Exactly.
And I
I think
think
we have a
Chris,
couple of hands.
If I could, I love Carrie, and she's had a great impact on my career, my life, even though I'm a lot older. Sorry to have to say that, but the truth is the truth. And I just want to add one thing. That there's, General George Patton, who was a great U.S. commander during World War II. He was quoted as saying that if we all think alike, someone is not thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah, and what I really want to hear is, because I know Carrie from her days as really a top executive at Bank of America, managing a huge group of people and being able to be successful in that area. Carrie, how important was it for you to have that initial corporate background and structure to be able to go out and really find your voice as you have?
Yeah, I think it's a real process of, where, again, banking cultures are pretty top down. Like, they're very hierarchical. They have a tendency to, you, in your desire to want to be successful and to get ahead, you start conforming. You start attempting to blend in because that's the way. But the more definitive way that I learned over time, and I think some of the driver of this was, I accepted that I saw the world differently. B, I also leveraged it as an advantage. And it wasn't a sword. Sometimes it was a velvet hammer, right? If anyone gets that analogy. And so the more that I learned to embrace that and come from a place of perspective, and to be willing to ask questions, that was one of the most powerful things that I learned. And any of you guys know me, I love that book, Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. It's a tremendous corporate leadership book. And it has wonderful tools that teaches you can get through any complicated situation if you choose to stay curious and build collaboratively. And there's a rhythm to it also, Chris, as I was referencing before. So you don't want to be in a tennis match or a volleyball match where your expression back feels like the spike, right? Take that. And trust me, I've done that.
I know.
But once you start realizing, as the gray hairs get longer, there's a better way. I think Rosa, I see you raising your hand, and I want to make sure.
Well, going back to what you just say, I have a voice of my own. I'm very strong, and something that I've learned is, if people are not listening, don't change the message, change the tone.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
When you're sure you're right, yes, you might be right, but if you don't pass the message in the right tone, you are going to find walls instead of networks. So it's very important that, especially when you're young and you feel older people don't have enough tools, don't know enough, just be kind and the message will come through. Don't let them know, don't make them feel old or, useless. Collaborate with them, and you have a lot to teach, and your voice has a lot of value.
Most definitely. Yes, most definitely. So I think with that, Hernan, it's over to you now, or Ben, do you want to do something on the intersection between?
Yeah, sure.